Look, if you've ever told yourself this is the last time, and then you slip back into the P word the same week, I know exactly how it feels. I spent 10 years thinking I just needed more willpower. But here's the truth. Relying on willpower is like trying to hold your breath underwater. You can do it, but only for so long until you finally just give in. For years, I battled a P word addiction, thinking if I just tried harder, I could beat it. I did everything. I downloaded blockers, I deleted apps, I wrote affirmations, I told myself in the mirror every day. Anything under the sun. Accountability partners, been there, done that. And the thing is, they all worked for maybe a few days and 3 weeks at most. But every single time I would overcome the urge, they just came back 10 times stronger. It felt like there was something in my brain, in the background, something hidden, pulling me back in no matter what I did. And it sucked. So in this video, I want to show you why willpower alone will never set you free. And I'll also give you a 4-step framework to help you rewire your brain and break the loop. I wish someone gave me these tips years ago, so I want to give them to you. This is not a fluffy, feel-good video though. These are going to be tools that actually work, even if you failed hundreds of times. So let's get into it. These are just a couple of things that you need to understand before we begin. Willpower is like a band-aid on a broken pipe. Willpower is what we use to try to fight the urge. But urges, they don't come from logic. They come from emotion, habit, and dopamine cravings. It's like if you're using willpower, you're just trying to put out a fire with a squirt gun. It's never gonna happen. You're just wasting time. Because willpower only lasts so long. And it definitely does not work when you're tired. Because if you think about it, do you ever have those nights when you're totally fine all day, then it's 1 a.m., you're tired, you're alone, you're stressed, and boom, you slip back into the P word, an adult content. And it's not because you're weak, it's because willpower is a battery. And when it dies, the old programming takes over. And if you haven't actually rewired those loops, you're always gonna fall back into that pattern. Because here's another thing you need to understand. As humans, we react based on triggers and not logic. So let me explain how we actually make decisions and how we actually do things in life. We act from our impulses. If you feel hungry, you eat, right? If you feel thirsty, you drink. We act out of habit. You shower the same way every single day, even if you don't realize it. Maybe you wash your hair, and then your face, and then your teeth, and then your body. Or maybe you do your teeth, face, body, hair, I don't know. But you do the same way every single time you shower. Then we react because of emotions. If you see a gorilla chasing you, you're gonna feel fear and run or freeze. It's just how we react as humans. And from dopamine cravings. If you feel down, your brain screams, give me dopamine now. And it's very strong. And on the very, 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 very bottom of the list is logic. Willpower comes from logic. But logic is the quietest voice in the room. It's the weakest. And especially when the emotions are screaming at you and the dopamine system in your brain is starving. Willpower stands no chance. You don't need more strength. You need a better system. Picture this in your mind really quick. Imagine you're walking through a hallway with giant speakers blasting music at you. And you're trying to block out the noise by wearing noise-canceling headphones. It's not gonna happen. That's what willpower is like. But if you change the system, if you just shut off the speakers, then how easy would it be to not hear the music? So that's what the next part is about. Here is a 4-step process to break the loop and rewire your brain without willpower. Step 1 is rebuild trust with yourself. Because you've broken promises to yourself so many times. Your brain stopped believing you. This is the last time. I'm never gonna do this ever again. It doesn't hit anymore because you said it hundreds of times before. So how are you actually gonna rebuild the trust with yourself? With small, easy wins. If you always eat lunch at 12 p.m., tell yourself, I will eat lunch at 12 p.m. no matter what. And then do it. If you always get out of bed at 8:30 a.m., every morning, tell yourself, I will get out of this bed by 8:30 a.m. and do it. And if you're full and you're not going to eat anyways, tell yourself, I'm not going to eat anymore. And then don't eat. It doesn't matter how small it is. The key is to follow it through. It reprograms your brain to believe that you mean what you say. And step 2 is track your triggers like a detective. Every urge you feel has a fingerprint. It is not random. Maybe it's always at night. Maybe it's when you're stressed. Or maybe it's when you're alone with your phone. You need to track it like a crime scene. Where were you? What were you doing before the urge hit? What emotions were you feeling? Was it loneliness? Was it boredom? Was it anxiety? Was it overwhelm? Track it. The more data you collect, the more power you gain. Because now you see the pattern and you interrupt it before it grabs you. And step 3 is replace the urge with something that's actually good for you. Porn is just cheap dopamine and it leaves you feeling empty. But your brain doesn't care about that. It just wants to feel better in the moment. So give it something real. When the urge hits, do something that actually makes you proud or that gives you real happiness. Go on a walk, call a friend, work out, meditate, read something powerful. Give your brain what it wants. Dopamine. It wants pleasure. It wants to feel good. But have it feel good from something that builds you instead of breaks you. And step 4, the final step, is let willpower be the backup, not the strategy. The goal here is to need less willpower, not more. When your emotions are regulated, when your habits are rewired, when your triggers are no longer triggering, then you only need willpower like a spare tire on rare occasions. That's when it gets easy. That's when the P word stops running the show. So if you're stuck in the loop, this is your way out. Just a quick recap and action plans for you today. Skip the willpower. Build trust with yourself with small promises. Track every single urge like a detective. Replace the urges with real fuel. And if you want help putting this into your life personally and holding you accountable and giving you some extra tools to really make sure you quit porn, click the link below and book a call. I only take on 12 guys each month, but if you're serious about changing your life, let's talk. You don't have to fight this alone anymore. You just need the right system.